Today, a special edition of State of Texas. 1 year ago, Texas joined a growing number of states revealing for the first time publicly a history of abuse allegations inside the Catholic Church. Now, from police to political leaders, what's really happened since the church released its names of clergy credibly accused, and the crucial details that went unmentioned.
I trust the church, I love the church, but we need answers of what they're doing with priests that should no longer be priests.
Our team tracks down accused priests who've dropped off the radar after accusations surfaced, discovering some still living and working in your community.
I cannot in good conscience see what I've seen and do nothing about it.
Transparency and safety. Critics question whether the actions taken by the Catholic Church in Texas are making those points a priority. For weeks, our investigative team has been digging to find out what releasing names of the accused a year ago actually did to move the wheels of justice. By January 31st, 2019, all Catholic dioceses across Texas had released their lists of clergy credibly accused of sexually abusing a child since the 1950s. There were 286 names, deacons, brothers, and mostly priests statewide.
The Roman Catholic Diocese of Austin has just released its list of priests credibly accused of sexually abusing a child.
Now, tracking the people down on this list is tough. Most are dead. Others have moved far away.
The bishop also said unless they've already done so, the diocese does not plan on getting law enforcement involved.
Church leaders said if new allegations surfaced, they'd report them to law enforcement. But we've reached out periodically over the past year to the dozens of police agencies and district attorneys with jurisdiction where those accused priests served and found very few new reports. Weren't these lists supposed to pave the way for new victims to come forward? Well, critics say the church didn't release enough information for much to happen. Mostly, we were told where these priests served, but not when. Without a time frame, it's hard to pinpoint if abuse could have happened at your church, your school, your community. But our investigative team worked with a source to obtain directories of all Catholic personnel in the United States for 10 specific years since 2000.
One more point on this Wozniak guy. He's still listed in 18 as retired.
It helped us fill in the blanks with dozens of Texas priests. Recently, we pored over the thousands of pages in these books for days. We were able to match priests' locations with the timing of their assignments. That research showed us what the church released last year was anything but complete, sometimes misleading, even wrong. So through additional records and a few new entries, we believe the number of accused priests in Texas is now at least 332, up by nearly 50 names. Keep in mind, just because names are on the list doesn't necessarily mean they've been charged with or convicted of a crime, just that the church has investigated and found credible accusations that they sexually abused children. Online now on this station's website, we're connecting the clergy. We're sharing all of our research and data, making it easier for you to find when and where Texas accused priests served. We want to mention we did request an interview with Austin's bishop for this story, but we're told he was unavailable to speak with us. The diocese says it's received no new accusations in the past year and that the names we have since added to the list of accused were not originally included because the allegations against those clergy happened outside the diocese. Investigator Avery Travis has also been reaching out to district attorneys across the state over the last several weeks. So far, 20 of all of these DAs highlighted that she contacted, including Travis counties here in Austin, say they have not prosecuted any new cases related to priest abuse.
Are you all prosecuting any cases right now?
No, we don't have any cases pending. We've talked to our law enforcement agencies, and to our knowledge, none of them have received any complaints either. So without a victim coming forward to complain about a specific person, a specific assault, then we are unable to bring a criminal case.
We've talked to district attorneys across the state, and the answer is very often the same. They've had no cases brought to them by law enforcement. Does that surprise you that your office is not alone?
Considering the way those names got reported and that many of them were deceased individuals and went back so far in time, no, it doesn't surprise me.
Do you think if there had been more details released or timeframes released with those names that some victims might have come forward or cases might have landed on your desk?
I don't really know if I can answer that question. It's mere speculation at this point. But if there is a victim out there, I would urge them to report to law enforcement.
That was Avery Travis reporting. We discovered last year, unless a district attorney asks the state to step in, the Texas Attorney General says it cannot launch his own investigation into clergy abuse. And so far, his office won't confirm anything like that happened. But as investigator Aaron Cargile reveals, citizens are still urging him to step in.
A public information request revealed people are still calling Ken Paxton's office and writing letters.
Dear Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Juliana Kulilap, now a freshman at the University of Texas in Austin, sent this message in the mail last school year when she was a senior at a high school in Frisco.
Children and victims of abuse deserve to see the government put effort into holding their perpetrators accountable.
Her AP government teacher challenged the class to pick an issue they were passionate about changing and write a political leader about it.
A lot of other states were taking their own action against it, so why couldn't Texas?
In the last year, records show 5 different people called the AG's office to report they were sexually abused by clergy. In those cases, the person answering the phone suggested they call local law enforcement or a national group like RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and National Network, that runs a 24/7 hotline to help victims of sexual assault. Several calls made to the AG's office came from a detective with a North Texas Police Department who kept asking for the AG's help with priest abuse cases involving children. The AG's response, the answer is no, until the district attorney's office requests our assistance. Notes from July of last year say Assistant AG Gabrielle Massey was looking through documents regarding the Catholic priests' investigations to come up with a list with potential cases in each jurisdiction. When we repeatedly asked throughout the last year if the AG's office was looking into anything priest-related, a communications person said it's their policy to neither confirm or deny any investigations are happening. Kulilap got a call back from the AG's office after they received her letter telling her thank you. She says she will never fully trust the Catholic Church until the state steps in.
There's so much hidden behind closed doors, and even if they're trying to be a little bit more transparent, it's still important for a more concrete organization like the government to step in, especially when it's children that are being victimized or abused.
In addition to attorney generals in other states stepping in, this map shows the 10 states that passed new laws just last year to encourage more victims to come forward, either by extending or doing away with a time limit on pursuing criminal charges or filing civil lawsuits.
Now, beyond changing laws, is anything else happening in Texas right now?
Yes, 2 dioceses were raided. The Dallas and Houston Galveston dioceses raided by law enforcement. In both cases, investigators were looking for sexual abuse records in specific cases.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Allegations of an Austin priest sexually abusing women during confession led to a lawsuit settlement. But his former parishioners reached out to us when they heard he is still a priest in Central Texas. We track him down and ask the diocese for answers, coming up on this special edition of State of Texas. One year ago, the Catholic Church in Texas released hundreds of names of clergy credibly accused of sexually abusing children.
I still get very uncomfortable and sick to my stomach anytime I have to go, onto a school ground.
We discovered those lists were missing a lot of details. And since then, there haven't been many new victims coming forward. Without victims, police, the state, and the church say they can't investigate any further.
A lot of other states were taking their own action against it, so why couldn't Texas?
Critics who've quietly lived through this scandal believe some priests may escape justice. In our research, we've found oftentimes in the past when allegations have surfaced, the church has simply moved accused clergy to other Catholic sites throughout the country. And while the law requires the church in Texas to report allegations involving children to police, it's not a requirement if the alleged victim is an adult. Investigator Aaron Cargile has learned a former Austin priest at the center of a sexual abuse lawsuit that was settled in court last year is still being supported by the Austin Diocese.
Yes, Father Isidore Indagazamana, who is known as Father Izzy, was serving at the St. Thomas More Catholic Church when 6 women filed a joint lawsuit in November of 2018 saying he touched them inappropriately. According to their attorney, the diocese put him through counseling and then reassigned him to another church in Brenham. The attorney says members there were never told about the accusations. Now we've discovered the diocese has moved him to a new location in Central Texas. And one parishioner we met is demanding more transparency.
I'm very active in the Catholic Church here. I'm involved in 4 ministries.
Faithful and devoted, 2 words that describe Carolyn Hoff, a devout Catholic who converted in the 80s and is not one to stay quiet.
I question everything. It's just who I am.
She and her husband had a lot of questions after the bishop addressed their congregation at St. Thomas More in the fall of 2018, telling them their priest, Father Izzy, had been removed for alleged inappropriate behavior with women.
I really wasn't surprised.
She later learned the diocese simply moved him to a church in Brenham. Prior to that, Hoff had served under him for 4 years.
The churches are spectacular.
And in 2015, went with Father Izzy and a group of parishioners on a 10-day trip to France, Spain, and Portugal. When the bishop says we've removed him, what is your understanding of what that means?
That to me meant he was no longer a priest. When you remove someone from a job, you no longer have that job.
But months later, Hoff heard Father Izzy was still a priest. Her husband wrote 2 letters to the bishop asking about the situation and questioned church leaders.
No one could give us an answer until I went to confession.
In the confessional, Hoff says she fired off a list of questions to the new parish priest.
Is he still with the church? Yes, he's at the diocese. Is the church still supporting Father Isidore? Yes.
The Diocese of Austin tells us Father Izzy still holds the priest title, but has been stripped of all priest duties. He cannot serve in any public ministry and is not allowed to present himself as a priest or dress like one. The diocese said it's still supporting him financially because under church law it's required to. When we asked where Father Izzy is living and what he's doing, they said that information is confidential. A tip and a driver's license search led us to this priest retirement facility in Central Texas. No one answered the phone number listed online. While looking for someone on the property to talk to off camera, we spotted him. Even then, the diocese still refused to confirm his location. Hoff said it should not be this hard to get information.
To have to find out answers by going to a confessional is not the way to do it. That's not very transparent. I trust the church, I love the church, but we need answers of what they're doing with priests that should no longer be priests.
To this day, Father Izzy has not been charged or convicted of any crime. The 6 women who filed the lawsuit say the abuse happened in the last 6 years. They never called police to report what happened. 2 of the women told us in an interview last year, church leaders and the diocese assured them they were taking care of it, and when it wasn't handled to their satisfaction, they decided to sue.
Now, this case was settled in the fall of last year.
Correct, but that settlement amount is confidential.
Did the money that parishioners have been giving go to any of the legal fees?
So contributions, the diocese tells me, are not going toward legal fees, settlements, anything like that. They've got an insurance fund to cover it.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. During the course of our investigation, we discovered nearly 50 priests accused of abuse by children were left off the list, though the church had at some point deemed those accusations against them credible. As we checked in with police agencies across the state for updates, investigator Jody Barr discovered one other name not on any list that has since become the focus of a criminal investigation in the South Texas town of Victoria.
We are not naming the priest because he has not been charged with anything, and the church has not put his name on any accused lists. Initially, the 10-year-old girl described inappropriate behavior by a priest at her school. Police investigated that allegation but did not find a crime happened. But the girl's mother tells us her daughter now claims the priest sexually assaulted her. That has now caused Victoria Police to give this case another look with an official criminal investigation.
If you are involved with the Catholic Church religion as a whole, then you are in this book.
Amber Marino spent more than a year trying to find a Catholic priest she believes assaulted her daughter in November 2018. Marino says he's essentially vanished.
Do you know where this priest is today?
I have no idea. And as far as I know, no one does. And I encounter quite a few people within the community, within my profession, and everybody says that he just disappeared in the middle of the night. He was there when they went to bed one night, and they woke up the next day, and he was gone.
Marino says her daughter told her it happened during confession inside the school. Marino went to the school and filed a complaint.
Did you ever get any sort of an apology and explanation from the school?
Initially, yes, and they immediately told me he will never be allowed back on the campus.
Months later, the priest's services in Victoria were canceled. The school's principal told us he is a priest in the Galveston-Houston diocese, but worked under contract in Victoria at the time. At some point after the allegation, the diocese revoked his power to serve as a priest. We asked Galveston-Houston's Archbishop Cardinal Daniel DiNardo about the allegations and where the priest is working today. DiNardo's spokesman sent us an email saying the priest denies the allegations, but he is not in active ministry while this matter is pending. DiNardo's office did not answer when asked where the priest is working today.
The first thing I always do is go to the very back of the book to look up his last name to see where he was that year.
Marino hit the internet to try to find the priest. She also spent hundreds of dollars buying these directories, which show every priest assignment by year in the U.S.
So he was in 2001. They finally accounted for him.
His name hasn't shown up in years, but that's not stopping Marino. She's still searching for answers.
I cannot in good conscience see what I've seen and do nothing about it.
Jody, were you ever able to physically track this priest down?
I was not, but we did get him on his cell phone last week. I asked him about these allegations. Now, he would not answer any questions. He kept referring me to Cardinal DiNardo's office for comment.
Jody, thank you.
I've been told by multiple, friends and partners that they've been contacted and, asked if, I was just making this up.
For some accusers, coming forward is difficult enough. But one man says his allegations have the church prying into his personal life.
I have no idea. And as far as I know, no one does. And everybody says that he just disappeared in the middle of the night. He was there when they went to bed one night, and they woke up the next day, and he was gone.
Questions about where the Catholic Church sends priests facing allegations of sexual abuse. Earlier, we connected the missing pieces and tracked down some of the accused clergy in Texas. Such claims join a growing number of allegations across the nation in recent years. In our research, we discovered a lawsuit claiming sexual abuse by a late Ohio priest now has ties surfacing here in Travis County. The accuser tells investigator Kevin Clark that the Catholic Diocese of Columbus is prying into his personal life, specifically his drug and psychological treatment.
St. Charles Prep is a competitive Catholic high school in Columbus, Ohio. It's where a man we're not identifying says he was sexually abused by a priest when he was a freshman in 2002 and 2003.
You had a lot of kids spending a lot of hours at the school, unsupervised with priests.
Monsignor Thomas Bennett taught at the school for more than 4 decades. He died in 2008. The former student claims the priest molested him several times. He says he moved to Austin and repressed those memories. To cope, he used drugs.
I made a pretty serious suicide attempt. Took an overdose of sleeping pills along with, alcohol.
Was expelled from a local high school and got arrested. A moment of clarity came inside a Travis County jail cell.
I just realized I had just gotten way too used to that whole lifestyle.
He filed a lawsuit against the Catholic Diocese of Columbus and St. Charles, claiming they didn't report Bennett's conduct to law enforcement. That's even after the accuser says he told the school about it as an adult twice. Now the diocese has requested records from his time in Austin.
They dug through quite a bit of my personal life.
Documents related to his psychological and substance abuse treatment.
I've been told by multiple, friends and partners that they've been contacted and, asked if, I was just making this up.
Meanwhile, the former St. Charles student says what happened to him has made getting an education challenging.
I still get very uncomfortable and sick to my stomach anytime I have to go, onto a school ground.
Now in college, he hopes to finish his degree and give back as a guidance counselor.
I'd like to do something with troubled kids, try to pass on some of the lessons I learned. That would be my, perfect world.
That was Kevin Clark reporting. A spokesperson with the Diocese of Columbus told us in a statement it's their policy not to comment on a pending lawsuit. Thank you for watching this special edition of State of Texas. Have a great day.